Hello everyone, my name is Katie Grischow. I'm studying flute performance and arts administration, and today I'll be talking about my project titled Because of Her, a composition for flute and looper pedal dedicated to Doriot Dwyer. I'll be talking about my inspiration for the project, my composition process. I'll show you where you can find my final product, and then I'll talk about my future plans for this project. This piece was inspired by Doriot Dwyer, who became one of the first women to hold a principal position in a major American orchestra, and she was the first flute player to do so when she became the principal flute of the Boston Symphony in 1952. Before this, she was notably denied the opportunity to play with certain ensembles, such as in the principal position of her college orchestra and the piccolo position of the Pittsburgh Symphony. And at the time, the Pittsburgh Symphony did have all male musicians. So before Dwyer, it was really hard to find women in principal positions, and this was due to a combination of orchestral and behavioral practices that date back to the 18th century, where men could pursue music as a career, but women were only typically taught to play instruments enough to entertain at parties or to add an additional skill that made them more ideal for marriage. So since the 1970s, with Dwyer's accomplishments in the implementation of blind auditions, which is where musicians will audition behind a screen to hide any indicators about their identity, the number of women in orchestras has increased up to 46%. So Dwyer herself passed just over a year ago, which aligned with the time that I submitted my original proposal for this project for our Artist in Residence program. And her death really helped me solidify that I wanted to create something that honored the legacy and progression that she has made for women in music. So to do this, I wanted to create a piece for flute and looper pedal, which would combine aspects of Dwyer's career with my own musical interests. And to create the melodies and looper tracks for this, I borrowed interesting or notable fragments from pieces dedicated to or premiered by Dwyer, which include Leonard Bernstein's Halil, Ingolf Dahl's Serenade for Four Flutes, and Ellen Toth Zweilig's Concerto for Flute and Orchestra. To perform this piece, I'm using a Boss RC505 loop station and a Shure Beta 57A microphone. In the process, I also used a notation software called MuseScore to write out the music and a digital audio workstation called Reaper to record into. So the performance of this video is linked in the description box of this video, and that's where you can see my final product. This was recorded in the electronic music studio located in the School of Music, and all video was recorded by James Hamilton Photography. I'm also using this video as part of my pre-recorded senior flute recital. So the next steps that I see for this project are, one, to stream it as part of my senior flute recital. I'm also really interested in continuing to compose pieces for flute and looper. This project has really helped me become more comfortable with the idea of creating music myself, as well as learning what kind of pieces or fragments, I guess I mean, work well for looper music. And I also got to learn a lot about the capabilities of the pedal that I own. I'd also really like to continue researching other areas of gender imbalances in orchestras. During my research for this about Dwyer and the history of women in orchestras, I learned that 90% of middle school flute players are female, but when you look at the top 15 American orchestras, only around 58% of their flute players are female. So there's an obvious decent difference there, and I'd be really interested to find out what factors contribute to the decrease in that percentage. So thank you all so much for tuning in. Again, the link to the performance portion of this presentation is in the description box below, and I hope you enjoy it.